I'll move on to review the next volunteer. Thank you, Leslie, for volunteering. Now, there are a few things I instantly notice. These words change my life, which is the name of the business. So the address of the website is leslieelder-change my life. And it's written over here as well. And then it's written over here. But this white text, if I don't highlight it, white on that sand, doesn't show very well. Now, the trouble is everybody's screen, everybody's monitor is calibrated differently. And on a Mac, the colors are 30% lighter than they are on a PC. The first thing is, welcome to the Change My Life site. Now, lots of people do start copy like that, but I think it sounds a bit dated and they're already on the site. So saying that is kind of a waste of the words. In fact, the whole thing looks a little bit dated to me. These graduated boxes, the fact that the contrast between the text and the color here isn't vast. This is a bit of a problem. Over here in the UK, at least, we have disability discrimination laws. And that means for people who are blind or poorly sighted and use a screen reader to look at websites, their screen reader needs a high level of contrast between the text and the background. I'm not sure if the contrast between the text and the background here is good enough. Let me zoom in so we can read it a bit more easily, viewing it on the Hangout. I'm not sure about the footprints on the sand background. It would be more elegant to have dark coloured text on a white or pale coloured background than it is to have it on an image. That's the trend in websites. Let's see what she says. We all face challenges in life, be it relationships, career, family problems, or just generally feeling unhappy or stuck in a rut. And it can be hard, I'll abbreviate this, to figure the way through a dilemma by yourself. And then I offer coaching, mentoring, and mediation services. So what she's done is not a bad thing. She's explained the problems and then the solution she offers. Again, can't help noticing a typo. The S is missing off the front of that word. And also, having the cost on the homepage means that people who are shopping around for coaching, mediation and mentoring might look at that, although that seems a very reasonable fee. If they're shopping around on price, she's going to lose them right there. Whereas, really, you don't want to get into price negotiations till further down the line. You want to convince them first why you are the coach to choose to change your life. Going down this other column, coaching is not a magic pill, but it can help you work out what to do with the rest of your life. Go for insights or future leaders. Now, look what happens when I hover over this link. It wasn't the same when I hovered over the contact link. It didn't flash a different color like that. So it's suggesting try the Insight or Future Leaders program if you want coaching. Of course, as a copywriter, I would write it slightly differently to this, but the underlying approach isn't bad, but a button rather than text is going to get more click-throughs. So here's a tip that you need to know. When people look at a website, they look at it in an F pattern. They look across the top of the web page, down the left-hand side, and maybe across the middle of the page. The bottom right-hand corner gets least eye views on a text-based web page. A clever designer can make the eye flow differently around it, but on a text-based web page, it's an F pattern. On print, it's the opposite. On print, people look at it in a Z pattern. They'll start in the top left and they'll look across the first couple of lines of text. The eye will drop down to the bottom corner of the page and leave in the bottom right-hand corner of the page. So the bottom right-hand corner in print is the most important corner. And that's why in newspapers and magazines, that advert space often costs more. And if you look at every advert, you'll see that's in a Z pattern too. The call to action and the logo will be in the bottom right-hand corner. Lots of amateur designers will put their logo at the top, but that's not where it needs to be in print. Your logo needs to be at the bottom because nobody cares who you are until they know what you can do for them. And that's so important, I'll say it again. Nobody cares who you are until they know what you can do for them. On screen, it's the opposite. It's an F. So the bottom right-hand corner is the worst possible place for the contact button because that's the one thing you want them to do is contact you. So your contact button, like I said before, is better or your contact details rather, in the top right. There's one more thing I want to share, and that is, and I'm going to screen share it again, to show how websites fit in the whole of your digital marketing. What you will see here is your website is somewhere in the middle of that diagram, and everything else you might do online has the objective of driving traffic to your website one way or another. When people are on your website, one of the things you want them to do is click the buy now button or the get in touch button, so all your sales messages here turn into money. I've got a pound sign there. It can be euros, of course, for people watching in Spain. If they're not ready to buy at that instant, another objective is to get them to sign up for your newsletter. And I know I've said don't call it a newsletter, call it a tip sheet, that's what I call mine, or give it some title that shows the benefit to the reader of giving you their precious email address when they're already so busy. So it needs to add value, not be an advert. You might have a blog within or attached to your website. The objective of your blog is twofold. One is to add value and show expertise so that people will see that you're the right one for the job and keep revisiting your site. Another one is for what is called freshness. It's to help your website go up the search engines. That's one of the things Google is looking for, is a website that's constantly updated. So if you have a blog, it's a way of constantly refreshing your content. And these days, more people are going to link to your blog from their social media, which could be YouTube, Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+, Instagram, and all the others. The objective of all of those is to drive people back to your blog or back to your website. Now, they actually all have slightly different objectives as well, because they're about engagement, not broadcast. And the selling messages that get people to your blog or your website need to be a small percentage of the content that you put out there. Now, your newsletter and your blog can have the same content because different people will be reading them. People will find your blog because of your search engine optimization, or by landing on your website, or whatever other activity. But it's a passive thing. It sits there and hopes people will find it. Your newsletter is an active thing that you send out to their email inbox every month or every week or whatever frequency you do. So they're not necessarily the same people reading it. So you can do regular blog posts that go in a digest in your newsletter, or you can do a newsletter that you archive to your blog. Whichever way round, you can reuse, repurpose, recycle the content. And at the end of the year, if you've done weekly blog posts and monthly newsletters, you've got a year's worth of content you can then put in an ebook. That ebook could then be an incentive for more people to sign up for your newsletter, or it could be something you actually sell on your website, on Amazon, on whatever platform you choose. Let's look quickly at the social media platforms where you might be active. These are all optional depending on your brand and depending on your objectives. If you haven't got video on your website, and so far the ones we've reviewed in this call haven't had video on the homepage at least, but people's expectation of an on-screen interaction is the moving image rather than reading. It's hard to read. That's why I was talking about having clarity of background and text and subheadings, bullet points and so on. You can have your own YouTube channel. It's free. You just sign up with your Google account. And from your YouTube, you can embed your videos within your blog, within your newsletter, within your website, and within some of your social media. And it's known that video links on Facebook, for example, get clicked 30% more than image links or text links. Video links in newsletters get clicked more than image or text links. You don't even have to have your own YouTube videos. You can share anybody's YouTube video on your blog, in your newsletter, on your Facebook, on your Pinterest or wherever, because under each YouTube video is a link that says share, and it gives you the code you can copy and paste and then share with your own networks. Pinterest or Instagram are image sharing websites. On Pinterest, you can share video as well. My top tip there is the objective of doing it is to get click-throughs to your website. Therefore, when you put an image on Pinterest and you're using Pinterest for Business, you can add a description that includes the link back to the page that that image comes from. Now, Pinterest will add a link, but only to your homepage. You might want that link going directly to a particular blog post, for example, if you're sharing the image from that blog post to get more readers. The objective on Twitter, in most cases, it's for customer service if you're a brand, but it's for engagement. It's not a broadcast channel. It's not a place where you can automate adverts or selling messages all the time and expect it to work. You need to have conversations on Twitter. It's brilliant for research and asking questions. And now and again, you can drip feed a message, driving people to your blog, your website, or your newsletter, because your followers there, by the time they've built a relationship with you, might be interested in finding out more and eventually buying something. It's a big relationship building process. Facebook is brilliant for a business to consumer business. You can have a page on Facebook attached to your profile, or you can run a group. You can have conversations. It's really good for sharing images and video. And your objective on Facebook is to get likes for your page, and for each update that you share to get likes, comments, and shares. On LinkedIn, that's the business end of social media. So this is business to businesses. The objective there, you can be active in groups. You can share updates on LinkedIn at company level or at individual level. And you can share blog type content via LinkedIn Pulse, and again, grow your audience and your click-throughs. The best use of Google Plus, I find, is for Hangouts like this one and Hangouts on Air that are being shared direct to YouTube. People anywhere around the world can watch them, and that YouTube video, once it's complete, can be edited and then reshared across the whole thing. The point of sharing this diagram is to say that your website is only part of your online marketing strategy. I do have clients who say to me, they're going to put a new website live and they fondly imagine they'll get 7 million visitors on day one, and it's just not going to happen. You have to do a lot of work to, once you've got your website live, to drive traffic there. And that might be work that you drive traffic via your social media activity. It might be work that you do by offline marketing and going out networking, and your web address is on your business card and you hope people will visit you that way. For a lot of people, depending what business you're in, you will always get most clients from word of mouth. It doesn't matter how brilliant your website is. It all is about objectives. When you know what you're selling, who you're selling it to, who you're trying to reach, then you can choose the right channel to reach them. Don't imagine your website necessarily is going to drive all your business your way. You might still need to have a word of mouth marketing strategy. You might need to do search engine optimization. You might need to do offline marketing, networking, social media marketing, and the whole thing fits together. And your website might be working as a portfolio for you. It might be working just to give you credibility. It might be working to sell product direct. But hopefully some of the tips you've picked up in that call will make it work for you.